It's amazing how time changes things. What started as Let It Rain, a song written a decade ago to poke fun at my family, has now become something entirely different. It stands as a powerful testament to the incredible grace and mercy God has shown us. Bring it on. Let His blessings rain down all over.
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Gerald C. Anderson Sr., author of Let It Rain and Standing Firm, the series. So, we are doing a special event tonight. Tonight, we are launching the book Let It Rain, which is the last book in the Standing Firm series. It started 10 years ago when domestic violence was on my heart, and I wrote about it. And we launched this book, and it was a big success. We followed with the movie and all. So I am very honored to have two people on this show that was part of that launch that came in with me, and they helped me launch the book. And they are two great people that can speak on the advocates that can speak on the topic of domestic violence. And but our focus here tonight is on the resilience to that, on how people have come through domestic violence, survived it, and are pushing on. Not only that, control. As you know, the character of Rain Davis is a singer, and she's fighting to get her control back. And so we want to focus on getting past that controlling aspect that some people may have over others. So that's what Let It Rain is all about, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We have a fantastic show for you. Like I said, the two live people in the studio that are going to be talking about the topic, and we also have a couple of videos that we're going to play for you. Now we do have some technical things. As you see, Tina's not able to make it tonight. She's out sick, and Buff is running late, so she hopefully she will be able to join. So we still will have our Life magazine positive media moment. So without waiting around enough, we're going to get to this promo. Then on the other side of the promo, we're going to introduce Dr. Sean Saxon and have a nice conversation with her. We'll be right back. Yeah, as we said, let it rain. Let it rain used to be a mantra of Rain Davis against her family, but now we're saying let it rain is God's grace and mercy raining down upon us. So that's what we're proclaiming. Let it rain is about now. So without further ado, we're going to talk to Dr. Sean Saxon, who like I said, I met 10 years ago during the Standing Firm days. She is a licensed minister. She's a human rights advocate and facilitator, sexual healing facilitator, empowerment leader, author, three-time best-selling co-author, and an all-around great person. Always there when I need it. Every time I ask for something, Sean will jump in there and she will do it. So let's bring Sean Saxon to the Dr. Sean Saxon to the stage. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, hey, Gerald. Thank you. I'm well. I cannot complain.
All
God is
right,
good.
all right. God is good. Yes, yes. So
Yes.
like I told everyone, it's been 10 years, since we met. With just before the release of Standing Firm, and then we you were there when we had the launch, and you were part of that thing
Yes.
that always stuck to me, and that's when you guys got me into the shelter to speak to the ladies
Yes.
who had survived domestic violence, which is our theme
Yes.
tonight, resilience and coming through. And it was such an honor to talk to them, and it's still in my mind. I can't get it out of my head. We were able to arrange a bus and get them over to the launch, give them all books and all. Um, I know you remember that as well. So
I do. I
it
do.
was a great moment.
I
Go
can
ahead.
never forget that because you made a difference in their lives. You made such a difference. Actually, a couple of months ago, I think I was speaking to one of them, and she asked me. She said, "Do you remember that?" And I was like, "Yes, I do remember that. Do you remember that?" And that kind of turned her life around.
Wow.
That was a big impact, that someone thought enough about her situation, and thought enough to invite her and put value on her life, because at that time they were going through a lot, because
Yeah.
it was the shelter.
Yeah. 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 And it moved me too. So I mean, to see them,
Yes,
had there in that place. I know a couple of people were they were honored to have a man speak on the topic, and back then I was like kind of new into this, so I didn't really know
yes,
a lot. But now I say yes, men do not like them like abusive men. We do speak out. We do not support abusive men.
yes,
So we
yes,
there are. I'm not the only one. There are many of us out here who are speaking it, fighting it, and we just don't allow it. I remember seeing a movie some time ago where these two guys were sitting at the bar, and the one guy learned that he was abusing his wife, and he didn't stand for it, and I said that's how we are, people
yes.
we take the other road and don't walk away from it. No, that's not how we are. So
That's
that
right.
that that touched me when they said they were happy to see a man involved in this. So
Yes, and you showed compassion, and you like listened to them, and it was like a lot a lot of crazy women. We were crazy, but in a good way. But you listen to them, and each of their stories was unique, because a lot of times people would think that you go through domestic violence, it's all the same, and it's not. Every story is unique to that person.
right. Yeah, and it was good. They moved me just as much. So I mean, I was so happy we were able to get them out of that shelter for a few hours. A
Yes,
good time, and they all looked like they had a great time that night, and that made me feel good to see them having a good time. So I always wondered what happened to them, but I'm glad you gave me that report on what
yes.
happened to them. So
And you gave them a book. You gave
yeah,
them a book amongst other things, just getting there. But the fact that they had their own book, and I believe you signed the book for them.
I did, I did.
Yeah, you signed the book for them. So that just, I mean, it plays value on them that they were not alone. But like I said, someone wanted to hear their story that was right in a book, and they were part of it, and they went to the celebration.
Hmm.
So they talked about it like, I mean, like we were their saviors. It's like, no, 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 we was just the vessel.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, we just doing what God would have us to do, and that was a
That's
good.
it.
So
That's
what
it.
have you been up to lately?
Um,
Yeah, I read your bio. It's like, wow, you've been up to a lot here.
yes, I have. It's domestic violence is always going to be my fight.
Mhm,
Um, been up to that behind the scenes, fighting for trafficking, just not in the states but globally. You
mhm,
know, anything that have to do with a human rights violation. Um, just just giving people a voice, letting them know that someone out there is listening to you, and
mhm.
they hear you, and you're not alone. Because too often when we going through all of this stuff, we think it's only happening to us. I know for me, I thought it was only happening to me, but I knew better. But that's not what you want to hear. It's about
Right,
you.
right. Yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good work there. But you got you 3-time bestseller here, so you've been doing some writing too, huh?
Yes. Yes, I've been some of the books that I wrote on was domestic violence. I co-author a book myself. I led it with 9 women in domestic violence, but it was unique because it just wasn't about domestic violence. It was about getting out domestic violence.
Right.
It having um, dealing with the mental of being in domestic violence, and the financial part of it. Not just saying, all of the woes, but giving options on how to get out.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, it's like I said, we want to focus on that aspect this time, because we often talk about domestic violence, but we always
Yes.
talk about people who are in it right now. But
Yes.
we want to focus on those people who've gotten out, got the strength to carry on, like the praise report you gave about the ladies who have gotten out of it now. So that's the kind of stuff we that others need to hear, because they need to hear that, hey, this is not where I need to be all the time. I can come
Yes.
out of this like they did. So
Yes. Yes. And if people don't see other people that's come out, they don't believe they could. And
right,
especially people that look like you.
right, exactly.
Sometimes that makes a difference, unfortunately. Hello, Dr. Vanessa. that that makes a difference when someone looks like you also,
Right.
to know that, hey, they could get out. I
Mhm.
I I could get out of here too,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know.
And that's
So
and that's the good thing about having black authors write about
yes,
it. Yeah,
because we
exactly.
don't have too many of them. It wasn't before you. I don't know that I knew too many black authors, and not a man,
Hmm.
not a male writing about it. Um, and you did not take the perspective as being a male and bashing, well, you deserve it, whatever. You was really compassionate, you know, and you were a black male writing about this thing.
Right. I just did what God called me to do.
Yes, but
I,
it's
I tell people all the time, standing firm wasn't supposed to be standing firm originally. You know,
yes, I remember you saying
Gerald was writing something else, but
right.
situations and circumstances jumped in, and God said, "No, this is what I want you to write about." And I sat down, and then at that time, we didn't have all the technology we have now, so but it was taking me, 6 months to 2 years to write a
I
book. I
I
wrote
remember.
Firm in 30 days.
I
So
remember, but you was obedient. See,
yeah,
God will tell us things, but that doesn't mean we're going to be obedient.
mm,
Because I know you had to have, because I know at different points you had asked my input with it. So it's like a black male writing about domestic violence.
yeah,
That's a God thing,
yeah,
because we're not going to do that,
yeah.
because we grew up in an era, what goes on in the family stays in the family.
Exactly, exactly, absolutely.
So that you was obedient. Praise God for you being obedient.
Right. And then, with the as Dr. Vanessa pointed out, you guys met in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. So Standing Firm rose to a movie as well. So um, we was all about putting the word out, and it's still it hasn't been to that level, but it's still been we've still been doing it all over the
Yep.
10 years, and so that's when May of this year came about. I was like, we gotta put it out there some more. We let it rain. So, but this, like I said, this time we want to talk about people's strength and how they can walk away. We need to show them that they can get out of that. They can get out of that control, out from under that control.
Yes.
And live the life that they were meant to live. So, and I
Yes.
know that you've been an advocate longer than me. So, so
It doesn't matter. You still an advocate. It doesn't matter if it's a day. It's a day that you're fighting for the cause.
right. Yeah, I agree with that totally. So,
Yes.
and the question, she's asking me a question. That's a yes question. Yes, I do feel like I was led to write that book. Like I said, well, this book, I'm not sure if you're talking about Standing Firm or if you're talking about Let It Rain. The Either one, yeah, I believe they were both God led. The whole series, I believe, was God led. So, but Standing Firm was originally supposed to be about three models, and then they were trying to live their life and stuff, trying to get to be successful. But like I said, God changed all of that to become Standing Firm, the singers, and the domestic violence and all, and everything just rolled from there. And from 2015, I actually met my wife
Yes.
just before that, in late 2014. So there was a lot going on.
Is it? A lot of good things came out of you writing, standing firm. Like you said, you met your wife.
But I didn't even know it
Just,
though. I mean, I didn't even know
right.
it at
No, right.
all that she was gonna eventually be my wife one day. So that was the
Yes,
funny part.
exactly. But a lot of good things came out of it because you know what? You stood firm.
Yeah,
That's
stood
why
for
the book was called Standing Firm.
exactly. Yes, he is amazing, bro.
Yes.
So what I've been meaning to ask you ever since you came on in the green room. What does the mad coach mean? What does that mean?
Okay. So the MAD coach is like MAD, MAD, making a difference.
Ah, okay.
I don't just want to coach someone. I want to make a difference. I want to empower them. I want to give them the tools to walk away, because I don't want to be coaching people for 50, the same person for 5 and 10 years. If
Mm,
I'm doing that, I need to stop because
mm,
they haven't gotten anything. But if when you get mad enough, you're going to make a difference.
okay.
So
Okay.
that's why I gave myself the mad coach. And then people always talking about black women being so aggressive and mad. Okay. So I want to make a difference.
Yeah. So when did that start?
It started when someone told me one time that I was mad. They were like, "You just a mad black woman." I was like, "You know something? I'm not gonna get offended. I have every reason to be mad, but I use my anger in a positive way."
Mm,
So I thought it was okay,
yeah.
making a difference.
And you
Yeah,
turned it into something good then.
yes, yes. You
Yeah.
know, because the scripture tells us, you know, um, I'm not going to verbatim, but what the devil mean for bad, God will turn that around.
Exactly. Amen.
So yeah, I am mad. I'm mad enough to take a stand to what I believe in.
Right. Okay. So as an experienced advocate, what can you tell someone about getting out of domestic violence? What what's at least three things that they should be thinking about?
What I will tell them, number one, safety is number one.
Amen.
Safety is number one because I'll wait. I don't want to go into that. You might ask me that after. So
Go ahead and say
safety,
what you got to say.
safety is number one because when you leaving someone and they have lost control, that could be very dangerous.
Mm,
So that's what I love to teach on getting out alive.
mm,
Then while you're in it, you need to have a plan. Number two, you need to have a plan. Um, you could get in touch with me. I'll tell you the plans and different things like that because I don't want to put all that on the air, how to make the plan. And number three, you need to have your own separate bank account.
mm.
I don't know how you're going to do that. That's for not for me to know, but that's for you to do.
Right.
Safety, a plan, safety in your own finances.
Right. Okay. So I know, like I said, I know you guys work closely with shelters down there. And by the way, Sean is in Tampa. He's still in Tampa, right?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yes.
Yeah. So, by the way, Sean is in Tampa, so I know she's doing a lot of good work down there.
Thank
To
you.
help people. So I've always been helpful. You know. And so we all do appreciate your work, and there's Sean's all over the place that are doing the same kind of good work. So
Yes.
we want to let people know that you have someone out there that will help you. You know, so make sure you use them. You know, and be safe. And you're right, exactly right about that. Be safe. That's the number one
Yes.
thing is to be safe. When you come up with any kind of plan to get out, you need to be safe about it.
Yes.
So so what over the last 10 years, what has been the most impactful thing that has happened in your life?
Ooh, it's been so many, but the most important, the most impactful thing was when I went to Africa and I had the opportunity to join forces with some sisters over there and with a school for teen moms,
Oh, okay.
to be able to open up the school, and the teen moms have their babies living there. And that's been the most impactful thing, because the girls come from domestic violence, they come from trafficking, they come from childhood marriages, they come from all of the ugly things that will snatch their childhood.
Mm,
So we're giving them a second chance um, at life.
okay. No, that's that is a great thing to do. So, how did that impact you when you got back to the states?
When I got back to the States, I realized there's so much work to be done, and it's enough work for everyone when I got back here. And
Mm,
here, I think a lot of times people focus on certain populations,
okay.
and I really hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. A lot of the populations don't look like me,
Mm.
and
So why do you think that is?
the value is not on the value is not on girls that look like me. That's
Okay.
not the value for them. So I think my goal now is to just do something here, and for any child that's a teen mom, any child that's going through something, because one child hurt is a generation hurt.
Right. Okay. So I know your movement was the non-loss movement. Is that still available?
No, now I since Nicole passed, I do a lot of work under my own organization, the Rama Empowerment Center.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of work under that. Thank you for putting that hotline up there, because I was going to do that as well. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a lot of work with the Rama Empowerment Center, and
And
just
what is that?
the Rama Empowerment Center is just that, where I do a lot of empowerment for girls and women. The school is under that as well, even though it's in Africa, because I do a lot of global work as well now.
Okay.
So my work is not just limited here, it's
Mm.
globally. And honestly, I think I'm more appreciated globally than domestically. Unfortunately, that's the way it has turned out.
And then maybe that was the path that you meant to be on.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
Yeah. So, all right. So I appreciate you being able to be on tonight and talking about domestic
thank you.
violence, resilience, and overcoming control. So, I know you're going to be out there doing some great stuff. We'll always continue to be in touch. So, thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming out. All
Thank
right.
you for having me. Thank you for inviting me again, Gerald. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good evening.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye bye. All right. So next, we're gonna have a video first of my lovely wife talking. So she's talking about domestic violence as well. So let's make sure you stay tuned. And after the video, we're gonna talk to Yolanda Lee.
Hi everyone, how are you? I am Dr. Vanessa Rainey Anderson, and I'm here to speak with you on the unseen chains of domestic violence and the power of control. We know that domestic violence is a difficult topic, often whispered about behind closed doors, right? Yet it impacts, echoes loudly throughout our communities. While physical violence is the most visible manifestation at its core, domestic violence is fundamentally about power and control. It's a systematic pattern of behaviors used by one person to dominate and defeat another person in a relationship. I want you all to think a moment. Think about the dangerous nature of control. How's that making you feel? It doesn't all, because we know that domestic violence doesn't always you leave those marks, right? It can be constant belittling, the isolation from family and friends, the rigid control over finances, the threats, the intimidation, a relentless erosion of a person's autonomy and self-worth. This unseen chain of control is what binds victims, often making it difficult to break free. Let's talk about some statistics that paint a disturbing picture of domestic violence. Nearly 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men in the United States have experienced a form of violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. This is not just a number. We're talking about our neighbors, our friends, and our family members. Every minute, approximately 20 people are physically abused by an intimate partner. Imagine, while we are talking about this topic, countless individuals have endured violence at the hands of someone they should trust. They should trust. Intimate partner violence accounts for 15% of all violent crimes. This isn't a minor issue, it's a significant driver of violence in our society. And tragically, more than 3 women are killed by their husband or boyfriends every day. Not talking about those women that have lost their life to suicide so that they can escape the pain. This is a devastating and ultimate consequences of unchecked power and control. These numbers are not abstract figures. They represent real people living in fear, their lives dictated by the urges and demands of their abusers. So what are your thoughts? What are you thinking in this moment? How can we control something that we do not know about? The Domestic Abuse Intervention Project came up with this wheel. It's called a power and control wheel. And it's a tool that allows individuals to become aware of all the different forms of domestic violence, because we know that domestic violence is beyond physical violence. So let's look at emotional abuse. When someone is being constant put down, name calling, making the victim feel worthless or crazy, paranoid, right? It's not what you see, it's not what you hear, right? Isolation, controlling the victim, what that person sees, who that person talk to, where they go, cutting them off from social support networks. Also, adding devices to the individual's cell phones, computers, or tracking devices to the individual's car. You know that goes beyond when you have to track another person to see exactly what they're doing or who they are with, or monitoring their cell phones or their computers to see the activities that's going on. When we talk about coercion and threats, making threats to harm the victim, not just the victim, but also their loved ones, or even themselves if the victim doesn't comply. Economic abuse, controlling finances, preventing the victim from working or accessing money, controlling where the victim spends their money, making sure that they are in control of all the finances. So they do the shopping, they do the grocery shopping, they ration out the money on what the victim wear. When the victim go to the doctor's office or to any kind of services, they are in control of that money because you remember that victim is not working. Intimidation, using fear-inducing behaviors like smashing things, throwing things across the room when they become angry to place fear in that individual, right? Until, we learn by repeated behavior. So when they are throwing things and smashing things, that individual will still live in that fear when they're not around because they expected to hear that loud noise and it causes them anxiety. Making threatening actions, displaying weapons. Those are things that they do to keep that control. Gaslighting, by minimizing, denying, and blaming, making light of the abuse, denying it happened, or blaming the victim for the abuser's action. I did this because you made me do this. You made me do this to you. You made me say this to you. Sometimes the abuser uses the children. They manipulate the children to control the victim, threaten to take them away, or making the victim feel guilty about being a parent. They are passive aggressive towards everyone else, but they are aggressive towards the victim. Male privilege, treating the victim like a servant, making all the major decisions, and defining rigid gender roles. These tactics work in concert to slip away the victim's sense of self, their independence, and their ability to resist. Because the goal is power and control. So they want the victim to be able to depend on them. The victim become codependent. They are so afraid of the unknown, of the future, because they have gotten used to living the life that they're living in the present, and they're so afraid to let it go. We know the physical violence is often the tip of the iceberg, supported by the foundational control that makes escape seem impossible. So what can we do as a community? What can we do as a whole? Breaking this cycle requires us to understand power and control. It demands that we move beyond simply condemning physical violence and recognize the devious ways in which abusers assert dominancy. First, we must educate ourselves and others about the different forms of abuse and the power and control dynamic. Challenge social norms that excuse or minimize controlling behavior. Support survivors by believing their stories, offering resources, and creating a safe space. Being an active listener, because we know that victims will only leave when they're ready. There isn't anything that we can do to tell them anything differently. When it's time for them to leave, they will know. But helping them to make a safety plan so that they can know that you are a family member are available for them. Hold abuser accountable for their actions through legal and community interventions. Promote healthy relationships built on respect and trust. Teaching our young boys and our young girls the power of self-compassion, being empathetic, Also, teaching them how to communicate effectively, emotional regulation, so they can learn how to hit the pause button when they become upset and move away from the situation. The unseen chains of control in domestic violence are strong, but they are not unbreakable. So, by understanding the power dynamics at play and working together, we can empower victims. We can challenge those abusers. And we can build communities where everyone can live free from fear and violence. So let us commit ourselves today to seeing the unseen, to breaking the silence, and to fostering a society where power is used for good, not for the control, and definitely not for destruction. Thank you. Peace out.
Okay, that was a good video. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just biased in my saying that, but a lot of great information. So I hope you all caught that. While I was watching the chat, and y'all were really getting into the chat. So I really appreciate that. Those comments are going to be there in case anybody comes along later on and watches the show. That's some good information y'all put in there. So I appreciate you guys talking in the chat. Um, Again, the video is by my wife, and she's written 3 books and 3 journals that can really help people as they're going through. May is Mental Health Month, so her books are all geared toward mental health and just making you feel better. So VanessaRAnderson.com, go check that out. Um, I'm a one-man show tonight. Tina's not here, so I did forget a video. I apologize for that. So we're gonna play that video, and then we're gonna talk to my friend Yolanda Lee. So here's Renata Smith talking about her experience with Standing Firm.
Hi, my name is Renata Smith, and I play Raine Davis in Standing Firm. And I am super excited that you all will be able to read Gerald C. Anderson's new novel, Let It Raine. Now, I play Raine Davis in the movie. Now, to be honest with you, it has a role that had so much depth into it that, taking on that role of, a young woman who's wanting to be in the entertainment industry, but also had to go through a lifestyle of domestic violence, it was hard to capture on those emotions, to also be able to tap into that character. But I did have wonderful help of meeting some great women around the Tampa area who are survivors of domestic violence. And that had catapulted me to create this character. Well, I hope that you enjoy this new book of the series, Let It Raine. I hope that as you read, you get to learn more, also be empowered as well too. We do want to make sure that anyone who is going through this process know that we'll have you in our prayers and to continue to have faith and hope that you as well can grow through it. Go ahead and purchase Let It Raine.
All right, thank you. That was Renata Smith. She played in Standing Firm. She was the main character of Raine Davis. She went through a lot learning that role because she did a lot in preparing for that role. So she did a great job. So now we get a chance to talk to Yolanda Lee. And she was also involved in the release of Standing Firm. She did a spoken word at the book launch. Man, stumbling over my words, but at the book launch, and I really appreciate that. Known her for 10 years. She's always a great person. Whenever I call on her, she's always available to come out. And so let's bring on Yolanda Lee. Hey,
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good.
Okay,
I wish you
that's
realized I
good.
didn't get to read that bio, huh?
You said what now?
I didn't get to read that bio.
I'm so sorry. Everybody know my bio. Everyone knows that it's Yolanda.
Yeah.
She's a happy go gutter. She writes poetry. She's smart. She does her thing, and I just live my life. You know what I'm saying? And I try to help people as much as I can because that's what we're here for, to help one another.
That's
If
right.
we can rise up together, we can all just do it together, and we would not have any problems if we can just all rise up together. That's
That's
the
right.
thing.
That's right.
That's the thing.
So I understand you got something for me tonight.
I have the poem for you that I wrote for you that night that I wrote for your book. So I'm gonna read that. But after that poem, I want you all to know I'm gonna come right into a poem that's gonna say when you came out of that domestic relationship and how powerful you're gonna be. Okay?
All right.
All right. Is anybody listening? I'm screaming. Do you hear me? My silence is loud. I'm hurrying behind these doors. Someone help me. I've been broken for a long time and I can't find my way out of this maze of destruction. Is anybody listening? My silence speaks loudly. You can't hear all this noise around me. I've been trying for years and I'm still in the same space. I've awakened many times hoping this nightmare has gone away. Is anybody listening? I'm drowning in this sea. Send in your lifeguard. I'm wondering if he can save me. I've gotten as far as this door and it's unlocked, but the knob is not turning. Why is it so hard to run from what's hurting me? I'm dying spiritually. God, can you please help me? Is anybody listening? I'm trying to make it out of this tragedy alive. I don't love myself enough. I believe that he loves me, but with his hands speaks differently. Is anybody listening? The noise is starting to fade. I see people screaming in the distance around me. I can't move. And suddenly my body is weak. God, what's happening to me? My daughter is yelling, Mommy, get up. Get up, Mommy. I need you, Mommy. Is anybody listening? Now, watch what happens when she comes out of that.
All right.
Woman, stand up. I can't tell you how many times I was told I was not good enough. Not woman enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, not worthy. I kept thinking this world was not for me. So I could never look into a mirror to see the reflection of a being that was not meant to me because men told me that my life should just cease. I believed those lies. They manifested and became a part of me. For so many years, I walked around with my head held low, my hands in my pocket, and a story that would never be told because I was cold. I was frozen into humility. Whose bright idea to bring this seed into reality? But things changed. I became dangerous when I started looking into that mirror, facing my fears, conquering defeats, speaking words of wisdom unto me. Warm blood started warming through my veins, waking me up, recognizing my abilities, speaking up, walking me down, God telling me, wake up. It's time for you to get up. Woman, where are you? Woman, where are you? You are powerful. Get up. For you can be the most powerful woman for that next young lady coming into this world. Woman, you stand up because this is for you. You stay unbreakable. Many blessings.
Amen. All right. That was good. That was good. I love that. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. You are so welcome. You are so welcome.
Yeah.
What I want to tell you, when I work with at-risk children, I always tell them poetry is healing. And they say, how's poetry is healing? I said, you write your feelings out. And poetry can heal you if you just write it out.
Yeah.
And that's for anybody.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And thank you.
Right.
You all be blessed.
Well, writing is healing. You know, and I think
It
writing.
really is. And I'm still working on that book. I'm on my 8th chapter. It's
Okay.
coming to you.
We wait for.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
So I know you've been an advocate for for domestic violence awareness as
Yes,
well. So
yes.
we appreciate your work in the
Thank
field.
you, girl.
So, um, tell us about your experiences.
Well, I'm originally from Arkansas. I came here 27 years ago. I was in a domestic violence relationship, so I ran. I came here to start over a new life, my children, and it was beautiful. I built a whole new life. I started working for a New York Times company here in Lakeland, uh, which was the Ledger. At the time, they was owned by New York Times. I was there for 13 years. I climbed the ladder, and then I went to work for Central Florida Media Group. Then I started my own marketing business, Dive Deep Marketing, and then what Be Unbreakable became about. I had a couple. I had my friends. Just like Raine, he does a lot of events now. Rage, he does it, and I still be with him too. He does my Unbreakable events with me too. I started doing events to encourage people that were performing at my events because I don't curse. So when people come, when I get people, I always say, "Look, I need you to be positive, and I need you to be funny, but positive without the curse words." So, but I
Okay.
had people come into those events. They would come in with the dances, and no one ever walked out without a tear, or they didn't walk out without a laughter. I just wanted to bring some joy and some happiness to people's lives. So I formed the Unbreakable event for people can know, hey, it won't always be like this. Because when
Right.
I used to look in the mirror when I was going through abuse, I looked in the mirror every morning and I would say, it won't always be like this. And
Right.
when I speak with the children, when I speak with the teenagers here, when I go to colleges and I speak to the teenagers, and I tell them, I say, I used to look in the mirror every morning and say, it won't always be like this. And I said, and I still do that to this day. It won't always be like this, no matter what I'm going through. So remember, whenever you're going through something, you remember
It won't
it
always.
won't always be like this.
Right. I feel like energy you
So
got. You be bringing the
yeah, so
energy.
I got too much energy. That's why I got too much energy. And
Right.
then I deal with MS. I was diagnosed with MS in August of 2020.
Right.
I won't lie, and no one knows this, so I will tell you. 3 years I was depressed. I never in my life dealt with depression. Not me, not Yolanda Lee. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
because I was like, God, what did I do? I've been healthy my whole life. I mean, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink. I mean, I exercised. I mean, how did I get this? You know, how did I start having seizures? I had 7 seizures in 1 year and a stroke and lesions all over my brain where I couldn't do stuff. I was just in pain constantly. Like now, they say I have chronic circulatory pain, and I have RMS. So whenever I go into remission and I come out of it, the pain gets worse.
Mm.
Um, I'm gonna say this because I don't want to talk about it no more. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this, but I'm gonna beat MS before BMS. Before MS beat me.
There you
You
go.
remember I said that.
I remember. I will remember that.
You
I
remember that.
always remember you were on this show before, and you were in
Mm-hmm.
so much pain, but yet you still pushed through and came on the show and did the show. That was remarkable to me.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was
I want to sit down. People always say, you learn to sit down. I was like, no, I can't stop. I got too much to do. God got me on he has me on a journey. And he's gonna keep me on that journey.
on the plane you were in, but yet you were still pushing through to be on this show. And
Yeah.
I felt bad. Man,
No,
I didn't know.
no.
I felt bad saying, I can't get up in the morning, go to work, and this man not putting his hands like,
And I'm rolling out of bed like, oh my God.
yeah,
No.
I really admired that. I really did.
I always tell people, don't feel bad for me. The pain is it's kind of like in the Bible with Paul. You remember Jesus put a thorn in Paul's hand. He put that thorn in his hand to remind him what I did for you. And
Right,
I said I got MS because God's saying, remember what you got to do for me, and I'm
right,
doing it. And I've been on the path, and I
Def-
walk that.
you are definitely
And
doing
he blesses me. He blesses me every time. So I'm gonna stay on the path. And if anything, everybody, you beautiful souls, you all stay unbreakable. And remember, it won't always be like
All
this.
right. So you said
Okay?
Be Unbreakable started in 2011, I think you said.
2011, yes,
So
yes.
14 years you've been doing. So tell us exactly what Be Unbreakable is all about.
Well, I was married and I got divorced. And it hurt me. That was the hardest pain I had ever in my life dealt with because I'm not too much of an emotional woman. I'm a nurturing woman, but I don't let emotions get me too much, you know. But that divorce really it hurt me, and I was in the shower and I was crying. I said, God, what do you want me to do with this pain? Because I always talk to God. Me and God have so many conversations. I think He get tired of me. I was crying in that shower. I said, God, what do you want me to do with this pain? He said, be unbreakable. Use it.
There you go. And you
Use
did.
that pain.
And you
You
did.
use it. You be unbreakable. You use it. And from that point forward, I called my friend Reg. I called Tyson. I said, I need to make a show. I got a movement to make. I said, people need to hear this. There's too many people out here hurting. They need to know you can keep going no matter what happens in life. As long as your mindset is there, you can keep going. That's all it's about.
That's
It's a
it.
mindset.
All right.
That's it. Let me get off your show.
So what do you advise people to do when they learn that someone, close to them, a friend, a family member, or whatever, is experiencing abuse? What would you advise them to do?
When what I would advise, because I just gave somebody some of this stuff today. If you're experiencing abuse in the family, I'm sorry, I'm very, very, because I experienced abuse, came from domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Tell someone and get out. I don't care if you have to come to me. You come to me. It's people have come to me. I will take you. You come to me. And I always had prayed to God that I wanted, and it's still, I have time that I always wanted to open up a house for women to come to get away from abuse. I wanted to do that, and there's so many men that's being abused that it's sad.
Yeah.
And I met many men that's been abused, and I'd be like, wow, women beating on men like this now, like,
Men tend to keep it quiet because of our
and they
ego.
keep it quiet. Yes, they really do. So when your wife was talking, I was like, because I knew exactly what she was talking about. Everything she said, I knew all of it.
Mm.
Because if I didn't experience it, I met other people that experienced it, and I helped them come out of it. Because
Yeah.
that's what it's about, helping one another. And so people are so embarrassed of so many things. Stop being embarrassed. You have no idea what so many people go through, and that person that may have been through the same thing you went through, you stop being embarrassed and speak up because they can give you some advice to get you through that. That's
Right.
why I tell people, don't be embarrassed. But I got a spirit that people just walk up to me and just talk to me, and I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
I have all the patience in the world. I'm one of the people, not sit in the airport for 12 hours, which I just did a week ago. 12 hours and just write and sing. And it doesn't bother me because I have a lot of patience. It's a gift. And I carry the spirit of discernment. So I don't hang around a lot of people because of the energy, because of the spirit of discernment is pick up too much stuff. That's my only problem.
Yeah.
But
I,
yeah,
I
that's what
remember.
I would tell someone.
I remember
They
when
need to tell.
when I started standing firm 10 years ago. This man actually reached out to me in my messages, and we had a long conversation because he was being abused, and so he
Mm-hmm.
he was talking to me through Messenger about it. So I was I you know he, and I was pretty amazed by it that he actually reached out to me because most men, like I say, most men keep it quiet. They're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I guess he felt comfortable because of his own message that he was
Yes.
about it. But I was glad to be able to talk to him and hopefully, help him. I never really heard from him again. But
Yeah.
I hope I helped him. Sometimes you receive things and you don't get to see the results of what you planted, the seeds that you planted. So,
But I see you being talked to a lot. Yeah, you all are starting to talk to each other a lot, and I like that.
what,
You
what
all are
they,
communicating a lot about stuff,
yeah,
and
things are
that's
changing in
awesome.
the world. So the world is changing. So like I
Okay.
was telling Sean, there are a lot of men out there that are against abuse, and they will speak up now, you know,
Yeah.
well, 40 years ago wouldn't have spoke up. But now that men will speak out about it. So that's a great,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Because I saw a girl knock a guy out with an iron, and he
wow,
wasn't even doing nothing to her. He loved her to death, and she just always came home and beat him. And I just felt so bad. I told him, I said, "You got to leave her because she's gonna kill you."
yeah,
Because when in those abuse relate, because if I wouldn't have left, I know that's probably would have happened to me.
mm,
So I'm glad I got out and I gave my kids a great life. Their father was amazing. Don't get it wrong. We had a good. He had him in the summer. I had him in the school year. He was an amazing father.
mm,
Amazing. He's gone now. He died in 2018. But he was an amazing father. We do miss him. But yeah, and we're doing good. And I know he's looking down and he's proud of his kids. So he's proud of all three of them because they're
yeah,
amazing. My kids are amazing as well.
all right, okay. Well, I thank you for coming by tonight and sharing this book launch with me. I appreciate you being here
You're
again.
welcome. You're welcome.
You
I
rest
hope
in
I didn't
peace,
give too many people too much energy.
yeah, you got that energy. You definitely got that energy. I tell you, but I appreciate you. So,
You're welcome. You
all
all be good.
right, you too.
All right, bye.
Bye bye. All right, so Buff Patterson has entered the building. So let's talk to Buff. Let's bring Buff on stage so she can tell us about a positive media moment. I know she's been waiting all day to talk about.
Yes. Well, first of all, I just want to thank all the guests who've been here. I really appreciate it, Yolanda. And I would say that today's Life Positive Media Moment, I want to be positive, but I also want to say something about domestic violence because I was a part of that community, unfortunately. And what I will say to any person, man, woman, child that's involved in a type of domestic violence, you do not deserve it. You did not earn you do not earn it. And a lot of women I've talked to, and even myself, you think, what did I do to deserve this? Um, I earned this. If I wouldn't have done this, no, I would say you did not deserve any of this. This is not your cross to bear. So that is one thing I wanted to say about domestic violence because it is something that's an emotional, that not just a physical thing, psychological thing that happens to people. But today I want to talk about my person today is Angela Stanton King. I don't know if you're familiar with Angela Stanton King. She's an activist, but she's actually important right now. She's writing initiatives and helping people get second chances that have been released from prison. So women that have second chances to come home and be mothers again, to be able to come back into society. And she has a nonprofit in Georgia, and it is called Auntie Angie's House. It's a nonprofit, and it provides housing, resources, support for pregnant women and new mothers facing crises, aiming to address maternal health disparities, and particularly among people of color. And that is very important. And even more than that, her herself being released from prison, and um, President Trump gave her a full pardon. But since then, she's been really important in our communities in helping create initiatives to help people get back on their feet. That is very important in our society to give people second chances. Jesus tells us to forgive, but now you forgive, you want to be able to help.
Right.
So I wanted to bring this person to the forefront because we have to pray for our leaders. We need to pray for people that are trying to help. people that don't have.
Mhm.
And if we're not praying for them, it starts at the top and it goes way down. Pray from the bottom, it goes to the top. So that's today's positive media moment. Angela Stanton King, and she's also the goddaughter of Dr. Martin Luther King's niece. So
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I know I know you had to beat the traffic to get in here tonight, but we appreciate
yeah,
you.
living in California is a place. It's a place, and I have to like plan a whole day. If I'm gonna do something, uh,
Mhm.
Gerald, tell them grandkids not to ask me to babysit them. Tell the grandkids, tell them, say, your grandmother, you can ask any day, but not on Mondays.
Not on Monday,
Not
yeah.
on
Not
Mondays.
not
I'm
on
not
show
available
Monday.
anymore to the raggedy people, huh?
Not on show Monday. The other
Not
Monday,
on show Mondays. I say it's not even every Monday. Why I gotta be the emergency contact? Why am I the emergency contact?
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
am that. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate this show. This show was very intentful and very much needed for people to need love. If only one person gets to hear today the important information that was put forth, we've won.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I tell people that Domestic Violence Awareness Month is October, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about it in May. And so that's what we wanted to do here tonight. Yes, it's the book launch is what got us here, but that we still can have a conversation, and hopefully somebody will be moved by this, and somebody will, if you're involved in it, hopefully you're now equipped with the ability to take some steps and get out of it. You
Well,
know,
Gerald, I want to ask you a question. Can I get a signed copy? I'm going to go on and get my book. And can I get a signed copy from the author himself?
of course, anybody who orders from my website gets a signed copy. You order from Amazon, I'm sorry, I can't sign it unless you happen to run into me. I can't sign it if you buy from Amazon. So buy from
Okay,
me, you
people,
get a signed copy.
go on the website. I'm going to go on the website myself and get myself a signed copy because
Signed
this
copy.
man is moving mountains.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna run this promo one more time, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna wrap up the show and call it a night, huh? All right. So you get comfortable, huh? Buff.
Yeah, do you see my hat? Look at this. It says,
I
I'm just
can't
out here
see it.
waiting for blessings.
What is
I'm
it?
just out here. I'm just out here trusting God.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm just out here trusting him because he got plans for me.
Yeah. All right. So I want to thank Dr. Sean Saxon for joining us tonight, and Yolanda Lee for blessing us with those two poems that she blessed us with, and the videos by my lovely wife, Dr. Vanessa, and Renata Smith, and Buff Patterson for her wonderful positive media moment. So thank you
Yes.
all for making this show.
Follow us.
But the really people who really make this show are you all who tune in and watch every other Monday to see what we have going for you. So we thank you all very much for joining us tonight. We appreciate you, and we'll see you guys in two weeks for the next show. What kind of wave goodbye is that?